Yeah. Yeah, so really you want to only have them up probably maybe a quarter of the way. And that'll be good. And so, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so, okay, so Alyssa's going to be talking. She's going to be pacing, and it's going to be really annoying because you'll have to, so she'll be talking, and at some point you'll be sort of paying attention to the order of service, and it'll be like, okay, we're going to pray, and then we're going to go to Kyle for a song. Pray, 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 pray. All right, and then sort of to cover yourself, because you don't necessarily want to show the audience that camera panning over and, where's Kyle, and oh, he's a whole lot taller than Alyssa, and stuff like that. So instead of doing that, what you're going to want to probably do is go to the second camera, or the first camera, so it has that nice sort of overhead shot, and then you readjust that second camera to sort of look right, and then you go to that. And so that's sort of the main transition that you're going to be doing a lot of. So you have two options. You have the cut, which will just cut right to it, and then you have that little auto button that if that one is highlighted, when you go between the two cameras, it'll do a nice little dissolve. And so Kyle's going to start, singing and playing. He'll do his thing, and he'll be, amen. And that's, again, when you're going to want to do that transition to the other camera to kind of cover, because then Alyssa's going to, come down and be like, oh, Kyle, that was so great. And she'll sort of get into position, and then you'll want to, adjust the other camera so it's, nice and on her. And she sort of gives her spiel. Yeah, and that monitor that you're looking at right there is a really old monitor, so the color isn't right, it's not sized right. But yeah, and so then Alyssa will say, okay, here's some other stuff, and then she might come down and walk around, and it's really, it's fun and tricky following with the camera, but eventually you start learning her motions and say, okay, she's walking over here to talk about, this is our prayer basket, which you don't necessarily, you could, and you could go to that big overhead shot during that. Yeah, that overhead shot's really your friend, because a lot of times, you'll doze off back there or just not be paying attention. All of a sudden look and see that the camera's just pointing at nothing. Yeah. That's when you go, oh, overhead shot. Okay, what's going on here? Yeah. And so that's sort of, so they go through it. So what slide do we have? Let's go to some part of the service. What do we think? We'll do the sermon. Okay, blessed assurance, we go through the whole blessed assurance, yada, 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 all day long. Then we go back to Alyssa. Let's see. So yeah, for the scripture slide doesn't show anything to the online audience, but the scripture slide itself, the one that's titled Scripture, shows like an image of the current, I think the one right before that.
You're one of the ones that just says sermon, right?
Oh, sorry, sermon, not Scripture, yeah. So whatever sermon just sort of has that, so that's what you normally have up while she's doing her thing, or whoever's preaching. And then she says, okay, we're going to do this great thing, and now I'm going to read from the good book, and then that's when you then go to the scripture part, and she goes through that, and then, okay. Let's see, what else? So on the soundboard, if you guys want to look at the big sound mixer, So there's, as we've learned, the master, we never really put it up more than like a quarter, maybe even less than a quarter. I don't know why it's like that. While she's singing, I put her down just because she doesn't like hearing herself sing. If that doesn't happen, it's totally fine. It's not the end of the world either. She'll realize it and be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna mouth the words, I guess. Yeah, but then so Kyle, on that we have singer, which is gonna be this mic right here. So Kyle's gonna blah. He's gonna be talking in this one, which is the singer one, which really we could probably just leave right where it is because he's pretty good about that. We have the piano one, which we could usually just sort of leave right where it is. Sort of the same. It's the same thing with the guitar one. A lot of times, though, it's also just use your ear. You know, you may hear that, oh my gosh, he's just jamming on that guitar and the guitar is overpowering everything, or he's being really soft-spoken today, so let's boost him up a little bit. But yeah. So we got those earphones there that you could sort of hear. All right, yeah. Hey, Alex, put those earphones on, and then on that little mini mixer in front of you, there's that second little knob that you could turn. It's going to be the second one from the left, that if you turn that way far up, you could sort of hear everything that's coming from these mics up here instead of my microphone. So when and it's going to be, Alyssa's going to say, Bobby Sue, do you have a prayer request? And Bobby,
Further up.
Bobby Sue will be right here saying, well, my son is not feeling well. And so you'll see that you really have to crank that thing all the way up to really be able to hear it. And as my son got in an accident, and it's really sad. So,
And if Alyssa is standing right under those microphones, you're going to want to slide her mic down.
Yeah, it's not going to sound great because you'll have the sound of, my son is really hurt and bad things are happening, and so you're having to crank that all the way up to be able to hear that person. And then Alyssa will say, oh, okay, that's great, and you'll sort of get both audio. You'll be able to hear Alyssa through these mics and Alyssa through this mic also. There's nothing we could really do about it at this point, but the main thing is sort of once you're done with prayer requests, is to turn that second fader off so we stop hearing, audience chatter. Those headphones work too, yeah. They have a shorter cord. But yeah. So I could, but we have it turned off. Sometimes when we have the little countdown timer going, I'll turn on those just enough that you sort of get that sense of sort of murmuring. You can tell that, okay, there's stuff that's happening, but you can't hear my stupid neighbor. Is what he did last night. Yeah. Yeah.
The microphone right there
Thank you.
for when Alyssa asks who's online or prayer
So,
requests.
yes. So when she asks who's online, on the big mixer right there's a little sticky note that says AV from one of the sliders. I think it's the fourth one. And then that's the one that goes to this microphone. Yeah, you have to put that one up a little bit more. So, yes, test, test, test. And then whoever's kind of right here is going to look at this and be able to see the list of all the people and